Hey guys, you know who it is. You know where you are and you know what's happening. JChats is back. So just simply subscribe and share, and of course click that bell so you know every time I drop a new video, you're there with me. Topics may include growth, development, social issues, broadcasting, even marketing for one's business. This is where we learn together. JChats, from interests to insights. Enjoy. Welcome back to the JChats. It is always good to have you inside of my world as you allow me inside of yours. I'm JD. Also, my birth name is Jillian Gibbs. If you're looking for that channel online, that's how you find me. But, every week I try to inject some positive info into our day because I learn as well as you learn. That's what I love about JChats. It's not just about me having that chat with my guests, but it's also a case where I can learn and we can share that together. So in the past, we've had conversations with marketing execs. We've had conversations with even persons in HR, hairstylists, makeup artists. If you do the history, check out JChats in the past, you'll see the types of persons or the types of conversations that I've had right here on this platform. So today now, I am really honored to have in my space a young lady who, and I guess she'll give the story. She's been looking at my page and I've been looking at hers, and I'm like, that's Carla though, you see all the activity on LinkedIn and you're like, I'd like to meet her one day, but my nerves didn't allow me to do that. And then that day came where she said, Jay, how do I get on JChats? And guys, I was like doing the double take. I was like, is she speaking to me? And she was. So we had a very long conversation, and today this is what has come out of it, a conversation with Carla Williams. Now I want to read Carla Williams Johnson. I want to read her bio before I welcome you into it, Carla, so just bear with me. All right. So Carla Williams Johnson is a media marketing specialist based right here in our Twin Island. She founded Carly Communications. I know that name, I always see it, and I just inches away from clicking on it, which offers advertising and marketing advice to entrepreneurs and business owners who are interested in building a business in the real world. Now, Carla considers herself an advocate for businessmen and women who were desirous of promoting themselves by offering sound, unbiased advice, focusing mainly on methods to identify ideal clients, whether it's online or offline. She also approaches to boost visibility and the creation of practical marketing campaigns designed to increase revenue. And right about now, as we are still living through this pandemic, God knows we need to increase our revenue any way possible. So this is where we come together to, as my saying goes for JChats, turning interests to insights. So thank you so much, Carla, for joining me inside of JChats. It is very, very good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. You have me blushing over here. I can't believe it.
No, we have both been silently stalking each other, I guess.
We have.
Yes?
Yes, we have. Yes, let's call it observing. Let's not call it stalking. Let's call
We've
it
been silently observing each other.
Yes.
Yes.
For quite a while. Guys, I feel like I have known JD for so long because when I worked in corporate, she was the voice that kept me sane as I would to work every single day on my absolute favorite radio station. She was the voice. Listen, there were days I was crying, I was upset, I was angry, and your voice just, that was it for me.
As people say, I have this soothing voice. I guess I calmed down whatever the situation was.
Yes.
I'm glad.
So here I am, these years later, building Carly Communications, and I'm watching how you have grown, and you have your JChats, and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, she's so fantastic. She's not going to.
Oh my! Now you're making me.
She's not going to listen to me. And I was just like, for months, it's so weird, right? For months, I was just like, I need to make connections, but how do I do it? How do I step out? How do I get rid of this fear? And I don't know if you listeners out there, like if you feel that way sometimes, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Right, and then I just messaged her. Actually, no, I tried to email her.
Yeah, I remember telling you that.
So I had to message her, half expecting her not to answer, and she did. And here we are. And if I didn't do that, I mean,
We'd still be just
who knows?
observing. Yeah,
We'd be
totally.
observing each other for however long again. And it's like, why do we do these things to ourselves, right?
Exactly.
Why
And
do
that is
we do that?
exactly why we're having this conversation, because
Yeah.
that's when we put our heads together and say, no, let's have a conversation about getting out of our own way, because we have stopped
Yes.
our own growth or stopped ourselves from doing something that will be absolutely amazing, like this particular episode. This could have been happening a long time ago, but
Yeah.
due to, I guess, everything happens in its time. But again, just simple example of, the conversation should have been started. And I know with your PR experience, your media and marketing experience, you would be the best person to speak about what we have just been doing,
Yeah.
standing in our own way. Yes.
Yeah, I think what happens, at least for me, for my story, what happened to me is that for a long time, I was told things like, why are you wasting your time? Nobody's going to take you
Yeah,
seriously. This is not an industry for somebody like you.
I've
I'm
heard
not
that
going to
too.
say I'm not even going to use the exact wording, but I think
Mm-hmm.
we can figure out
Mm-hmm.
what they were trying to say, right? And it really took a toll on me. It really did. And even when I stepped out on my own and I started to make some progress, there were people that I really thought that were backing me, that had me in mind, that just like started to pull away. They started to move differently, and I couldn't figure it out. I mean, you hear the stories, but when it happens to you, you feel a way. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to describe it. You feel almost less than, even though you
Yeah,
know that's not true. So when certain opportunities present itself, you're very hesitant to take that leap.
true.
And I think what happens with a lot of us, especially as Caribbean people, we see the outside world as this big thing. We see these people from these other countries as better than us, when that's not necessarily the case. And I remember back in 2017, I believe, when I first started on my PR journey, my first instinct was to not send out. I mean, I'm very good at writing proposals. I'm very good at connecting. But my first instinct was to, these people are not going to take me seriously. Let me not do it.
Right.
And then something inside of me said, Carla, if you don't do it, then we don't know what's going to happen, right? And I did, and I sent it. And my first feature was in work at home success, and it was very simple. It was, they just wanted to know what it was like for people working at home.
Yeah.
Basically, that was it. And I was hesitant to do that, right? But I did, and I sent it, and I got it. And that started to give me, because the more I put myself out there, is the more people started to see me. And right after that, that could have been, I would say, in June or July of 2016. By November, December of that year, sorry, 2017. By November, December of that year, I got a call, an email, sorry, from Huffington Post, and they were doing a roundup of the 99 limit breaking female founders. And I thought that they sent me that email by mistake. I am not a limit breaking female founder. What are they doing? And apparently they were just observing me, observing my progress, and they
Right.
thought I was worthy enough to be on this list. And the funny thing about being on that list was I was the only Caribbean person, the
Nice.
only West Indian. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember when I first put it out, a lot of the people who said I could make it, a lot of the people who said that, I wouldn't amount to anything or whatever, were the first people to be like, oh my God, look at her. She's so great. I know
Always
her
works out
from
that
way
way.
back when. I
Always
knew
works out
her.
that way. But along with the people who said you couldn't make it, I'm sure you can admit that you were one of those. Obviously, this is what we do, stopping ourselves, because you yourself, no, you yourself, like you just said, they sent this email to me in error. Must be that.
Yeah,
Because when you think
must
about
be.
Huffington Post, these are one of the one of the most popular networks in
Yeah.
terms of newspaper publication outside. Yeah, and again, you just
Yeah.
mentioned, because it's outside, you're thinking, oh no, it's so unattainable, so
Yeah,
far fetched.
they cannot be talking about Cali communications from Trinidad and Tobago. That is impossible, right?
Well, they
But it
were.
was impossible. And then that just, snowballed. I was in Forbes, I was on BuzzFeed, I was just recently named one of the marketers to follow for 2020. there's so much from that one initial email that I sent that I thought that I should not have sent. So much has come from that one email. And I'm here to say I totally understand the feeling
Mm,
because I was there. I totally understand the fear and I
yes.
totally understand the hesitation. I have been there.
You
I
know, you're
actually
talking to me too,
frolicked
right?
there for a while. I
Yeah, we
laid
spent,
there for a
I
while.
mean, we invested. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
for
a
a
pretty,
while.
and that's like the comfort zone, isn't it? That's where we feel very
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah, because we basically took up residence in our comfort zone because it's very comfortable. Now the problem with taking up our
Residents.
residence in our comfort zone is we get so comfortable that we don't want to move, right? We don't want to move. There's no growth in the comfort zone. And if you're a person that wants to grow, eventually you feel stifled. You feel upset. You feel like nothing is happening. I'm a person that I like to move. I like to go. I like to have things happening, right? So after a while, I felt like that. In as much as I was scared and nervous to send these emails or to make these phone calls, I knew I needed to do it because I couldn't stay stagnant all the time. Nothing was happening. And I've made so many international friends. There's a person in St. Louis, Missouri. She tells everyone, she actually told me this the other day. She said her entire family knows me. Her sister from Trinidad, they know me. They know me well because she thinks I'm just the most fantastic thing ever. And I would have never met her,
Isn't that crazy?
never met her if I had not put myself out there.
One of the things a friend of mine was telling me some years ago, as I hear you speak about that, is that Jay, you find it very, and you know, speaking to me, find it very difficult, I realize, to accept compliments. And you know, when someone
Yeah,
says to you, Jay, you did a good job, or you executed that well, or you look absolutely amazing, it was very difficult for me to accept that because of the belief system that I had in my head for so long. You know,
yeah,
again, stepping in my own way, even with compliments. So to, you
yeah,
know, even with that person acknowledging you miles away, it's like, I know sometimes it'll be like, you know, very difficult to hear in some cases, but the investment that we're putting and the journey that you are
yeah.
doing where you stepped, no longer stepping, you stepped out of your own way is amazing. So I want you to speak to our listeners and viewers as we go through some of the ways that you can possibly think of stepping out of our own way and speaking to those who have been planted, cemented, grown grass, picked up serious residence in that comfort zone, to avoid the lessons that we don't want to learn. And I can use that as an example for myself. Being so comfortable where you used to listen to me before, I did nothing else pertaining to JD, to Jillian, developing Jillian
Yeah.
or JD. I just stuck in that role as that radio personality on one of the best urban stations ever, and I'm still going to say that, Ebony
Yes,
104.
it
And
is.
I sat there and yes, I met amazing people and I learned, but I was so comfortable, I didn't try to delve into other things. And, you know, after the closure of that, life taught me a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Get up now. You have no choice but to get up and find ways to experiment with things, to show your development, show your potential. And many things, I would say, is the hardest thing ever for me no longer being at Ebony because I absolutely loved Ebony. But out of that came so many tiny sprouts of potential opportunities that I
Yeah.
know for a fact, Carla, I would not have attained or even tried to venture on once I was still there because I was
Mm.
really comfortable there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I, I
go
I
ahead.
totally get that. I totally understand. A lot of people, even now, I think a lot of people, they're very comfortable in their own space because everything is just okay. You know, they don't, a lot of people, they don't see the need to rock the boat, so to speak, or they have people around them who try to keep them back. They say, why are you doing that? This is a huge risk. You don't need to be taking that risk now. You have family, whatever that you need to think about, right? And this is, I mean, it's twofold, right?
Right.
I would say you have to decide within yourself that you need to take this journey or you
The
need to
sleep.
make this
Hmm.
this leap, as you said, right? Because nobody else is going to make it for you, one, and this is your life to live, and you have to be happy too, right? And you really have to make up your mind to do it. And I think COVID-19 has taught that lesson to a lot of people, because if you wasn't, doing anything before, bet your bottom dollar you're doing it now, right? Because
Yes. Yes.
COVID-19 is here, and it's taught everyone make changes, do things differently, get on a digital platform, include PR. It's telling you all of these different things that you now have to do. And the second thing I want to talk about, which is very important, is community. We need that in our business world. We need to come together, like-minded individuals, and to
Yeah.
support each other. It has nothing to do with female empowerment or black. We just all need to come together and really support each other. And support doesn't always have to come in the form of money, even though that'll be
So
great.
true. Of
If you buy
course.
from me, it's great. But I mean, sometimes it's just
Click like and
liking,
subscribe.
like, subscribe, right? Referring people, say, hey, there's this person I know, she's fabulous. Go and talk to them. Just simple things like this, us talking here. Like, there's so many ways to support each other. And I think the most important way to support other people is just to listen, right? Some people don't have that support system. They don't have a family that understands, because their family is not, they're not in business. So they don't get it. And you
Right.
need somebody who is in business to really vent to or bounce ideas off of, or, just to kind of help you through. And I think if we have more of that, we will see a lot more people really putting themselves out there, scared as they might be, but because they have someone pushing them and giving them that encouragement, it makes the situation a lot easier. And when they get whatever it is that they were going for, like when I got my first, when I got featured in Forbes, let me tell
Forbes,
you,
you know. Forbes, you
I
know.
thought I blacked out because there's a good portion of my life I do not remember, right? But when I came to that, I remember, I was like, I was in Forbes. And there was this graphic artist that I was talking to at the time. And he was like, oh my God, that is so great. And everybody came around and they were like congratulating me. And they was like, oh my God, this is so great. And they wanted to see the link. And they started to share it to all their people. And I was, because I had a close knit community of people, that celebration wasn't just me alone. That was a celebration of everybody I knew,
Yeah.
everybody who said
Yeah.
that I could do it, everybody that believed in me. Everybody started to celebrate it, right? And that's what we need. We don't have enough of that. I think we need more of that. More coming together, more pushing ourselves and our brothers and our sisters forward, more listening, allowing people to vent and vent their frustrations. We need a lot of that. And I think we'll see more people emerging and just growing and doing what they need to do.
But one thing I took from you, and it's something I said, maybe I said it to you in our previous conversation off of Zoom, but that simple thing of supporting without even cash at times. It does not always have
Yeah.
to be a financial thing, because many persons you would have suggested through word of mouth, or for instance, if you have, like most recently, I had a welder that came to do some ironwork here, and simply putting his photo up, that's just one example. Putting his photos
Yeah.
up and saying, "Hey, check out so and so, absolutely please," or not even being that direct, just simply saying, "Hey, thanks for this. I absolutely love it. It looks amazing." And from that, persons were like, "Jay, who's that? What's his number? How can I get?"
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do. And you know how appreciative he or other persons
Yes.
you do that for will feel. We're not, it's not a
Yeah.
case of asking you. In some cases, yes, we need the finances to survive, but that in itself, those actions can assist for the finances to come in. So it's a
Yes.
simple case of
Yeah.
support. I think that is heavy in terms of pushing
Yes.
our dreams and
Yeah.
getting successful. And that community that you speak of, especially coming out of the most recent, I know a lot of people talk about Black Lives Matter, and that is just one of those heavy topics as a result of the George Floyd murder on
Mm-hmm.
someone's screen that we all saw. But out of that was birthed many small
So much.
businesses that have
Yes.
come out and said, "Hey, I do this, I offer this, what do you do?" Because we're now exchanging
Right.
the hands. Yes.
And I think that is so important. I mean, it's so terrible that something had to
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But let's look at the good. Let's look at how everyone has just come out and just started to support each other. And I'm all for liking and following and subscribing. All of these are good numbers, right?
But we stand
But
behind
let's
it.
look at supporting each other. Let's look at referring each other. Let's look at listening to one another. Like right now, I'm giving free marketing consultations to all business owners because at the end of the day, I want everyone to succeed.
Right.
Now, some may turn into money, some may not, but at the end of the day, my goal is to help as many people as possible. And I always subscribe to the fact of if you help people and you put yourself out there and you try to build people up, the money will come.
Each one
Some
help
people
one.
look at it a different way. They say, oh my God, I need to make the money. And the more they look for the money is the less they see it because they're not really doing anything. But if you really genuinely come from a place of really wanting to help people succeed,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somebody's gonna say, "Oh my God, that girl, she's genuine, she's fantastic. I need to call her, right? I need to hop on a Zoom call with her because she knows what she's talking about." And sometimes, it could be that the person is not ready right now, but guess what? When they're ready, 2, 3 years down the road, they'll remember you
Yeah. Yeah.
because you were so helpful and so genuine.
And that opportunity was created. So, what are some other ways? Because you spoke about getting out of our comfort zone. What other
Hmm.
things you talk about? Community, another
Community,
factor that
yes.
helps with getting out of our own way. What are some of the other things that we need to pay attention to just move? No longer get out, move. You know what I mean?
I think also too what we need to do is understand what it is that we are here for. A lot of people we have businesses, right? Or we have an idea, we have a thought, right? But we're not really sure what we want to do with it. We're not sure the
Yeah.
direction we want to go in. We're not sure about target audience. We're not sure about message. Those types of things we need to be very clear about. Because once we're clear on those things, then we will know what direction we're moving in. We'll know what we need to do. We'll know what media to use. We'll know who to talk to. So let's get clear on who we are,
Mm.
what we do, who we'd like to serve, and the goals that we have for ourselves. If it's long term, short term, like let's get focused on those things because we'll know where to go. We'll know where to go for help once we know all of these things.
You say that. And one thing about doing J chats, I feel like every guest or every fellow person who chats with me, because I like to say, remind people that J chat is about a conversation and I don't like the stiffness of an interview. So I love in chats where I learn something every time. And I'm sure those of you looking on would learn as well. And sometimes I also feel like my fellow chatter of that particular episode is throwing things at me. And I feel like you just did for a second because I remember well Vonette Bickford said to me once in a conversation, and if you know Vonette Bickford, she's one of our musicians here in Trinidad and Tobago, amazing jazz artist. And I remember she asked me a question once. She says, so who are you? And I was like, huh, what do you mean? And there I started with my homework. What am I bringing? What do I want to bring forward? Yes, I have been, and I'll just say this. I remember this was even difficult for me to say years ago. I have been blessed with my voice that many
Hmm.
people consider to be just an amazing instrument to have, and I thank God for that. However, I need to delve into other things. What is my purpose? What is the passion that I have? Yes, I love radio, but then I had to do homework and try and figure out what else can I do. And would you believe, even though there's at this point, because I don't know where JChat is going to go, but at this point there isn't any financial backing behind this. But I always remember absolutely detesting interviews because of fear, right?
Ah.
I feared doing interviews because I always thought the person would be judgmental, and I never liked doing it. And I remember one of my colleagues saying, but you do a good job at interviews. And I didn't even realize that I did. So now out of that came JChats, creating my own lane where I created this platform. And now I'm doing the same thing that I never thought I was good at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Conducting those interviews. So I'm still answering those questions you just asked. I'm not fully there, but that is so how do you say it? You hit
Nail on the
nail on
head.
head where you ask that question. Who are you? What you're meant to do? What is your purpose? Do you think many of us are like me, where we don't even know the answers to those questions with your years of experience in the business?
I think everyone knows. It's just that no one has asked the question, right? A lot of people hop into business. Even I hopped into business because I like marketing and I like advertising. And I had an idea of what it is I wanted to do and who I wanted to serve. But it wasn't until I actually sat down, wrote it out, asked myself these serious questions
Right.
that things started to move. And I think that's a lot of business owners, they have an idea. They have a vague idea of what it is that they want to do, but they're not quite sure and they don't have the right people to help bring it out.
Yeah.
Right? And that
Support.
is the first thing you really should do before you go get your logo and all of these things, right? All these things are lovely, but what messages are you trying to convey? Because
Right.
a logo is a message, right? It's a visual message. What message are you trying to send to people? What do you want to represent, right? So as a marketer, I would strongly advise, if you have not done it as yet,
Yeah.
please take a minute or two and lock yourself in a room and really answer the hard questions. Who am I? What do I do? Who do I serve? What is the message I'm
Right.
trying to
So,
convey? What is my goal at the end of all of this? At the end of the day, what is the message you want people to take from it?
and you could even be richer with just persons loving the content that you're delivering in whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
in itself is so fulfilling as well.
yeah,
You said
yeah.
some of the things you said sounded like you related to the importance of journaling. Is
Mm-hmm.
that something important as well in your
I do
eyes?
think so. For me, I never used to journal before, and
Yeah.
now that I do it, I can't live without it. I try to do it every day. I will admit I don't do it, but I do it regularly, and it really helps get all the ideas out. It helps with brain fog. It helps with everything when you get everything out on paper, because sometimes you have really good ideas. I don't know if this happens to you, Dee, but
Mm,
you get really good ideas.
I
Sometimes you have
forget.
10, 20 really, really good ideas, and you don't know which one to do first. You
Right.
don't know which one to follow because they're all really good. But when you do the journaling and you do the brain dump and you get everything out, then you can really look at things logically and say, maybe I could shelve these and just do these two. It kind of makes things a lot more clearer. And I also strongly recommend meditating. That is something I do every day
Do
without
you every day?
fail. Every morning with I have a 2-year-old
Well,
and
you do
I
need to
have
do
a
that. Yes.
20-year-old.
Big
So
gap though,
there's a
Carla.
huge gap.
After
There is a
20 years,
huge
you said,
gap.
I think I want to go back. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, man, I don't know, right? So there's a huge gap. And in the middle there is craziness, right? So I need to meditate if I don't meditate in the morning, I have to do it in the night. But I tend to do it every morning as I get up. I have this app called Happy Not Perfect. I love it.
Oh, I'm
I
going to write
love
that
it.
down.
Yes. Happy Not Perfect. It I don't even need to describe it. It's just fabulous. And it really helps in guided meditations and, tapping into how you're feeling. And it's fabulous. And I do it every single morning without fail.
I must
Every
give
single
you
morning.
much kudos on that. I started it earlier this year and I dropped off the bandwagon. But when I did it every morning for 5 minutes, there you can simply go onto YouTube. I will check out Happy Not Perfect, but at that time I was jumping onto YouTube and I would find the mindless meditation um, pages, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I know sometimes it can be difficult to stay centered. You know what I mean? Because you start thinking, okay, I have to go buy the grocery later on this evening,
Yes.
and then so you have to shut that out. But so you do say those two things sound very important: journaling and also
And
finding that
meditate.
time to meditate. Of course, we know prayer is always the ultimate, right? No
Mm-hmm.
matter who you worship, but prayer, meditation, and journaling.
Yes.
Journaling, I have faulted on that. um I like how you said you're taking the brain dump.
Yes, the brain. That is so important. Every so often you have to get all of it out. Because
Can
you
you
go
imagine what's
crazy,
happening?
right? Yes,
Exactly.
you have to bring it all out.
There's lots
And
of craziness.
if journaling is something that you struggle with, the Happy Not Perfect app has a section in it for journaling. So you don't have to leave the app
Right.
to to do everything. You can do everything
I
in the
think,
app. That's why I love it, right? It has everything. It has games to help you um, soothe your anxiety. It has all different aspects of it. You can set reminders. You really should check it out. If meditation is something you struggle with, or journaling is something that you
so
struggle with,
struggling.
that app is really good. I'm so happy to have found that.
I love what you're saying, where everything you've mentioned so far is about self change, change within self in order to get out of our
Mhm.
own way. You realize, again, no one's in your
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
It's just about you,
yeah.
and we have so much work to do with that. What
Mhm.
are some of the other things you think we should work on? Um,
The thing I think that is ultimately important is to always align. I mean, I know I spoke about community, but I always think that you should align yourself with people who have the same values as you do,
to the
because
energy.
you feel it. You feel the negativity. You feel, it's just an easier process. It's an easier flow, right? I had to learn the hard way, right?
Mm,
As most people, you align yourself with people, and it's after you get in, you realize, oh, this is not for me.
yeah.
I need to get out. But there are some people who wrap themselves up so tightly with people that they find it hard to separate, right? They feel loyal to them or for some reason. And let me just tell you, you're not loyal to anybody. You could leave, right? And secondly, if the person is not aligned with your value, you will feel heavy all the
The time.
time. You will feel heavy. You will feel like nothing is getting done. You feel like you're spinning in circles, or that nothing is happening. You're not moving forward. And even if you're in a community of people, if they are not in line with your beliefs, what you do, how you feel, which goes back to what we talked about before, knowing who
Mm-hmm.
you are,
Mm-hmm.
then it doesn't make sense. It's best you just continue alone until you find that kindred spirit that you could connect with. But always try to find people or companies or businesses or any other entity that is aligned with your values.
That's a pretty good one. So if you're just joining us, and maybe you scroll and you just jump into this halfway, you never know. Someone sent you this link. This is Jillian Gibbs, JD. Either way, you can just call me either one of those. This is Miss Carla William
Carla.
Johnson. Yes, mother of two. You heard the big gap of a 20-year-old as well as a 2-year-old. So she had
Oh.
lots of time to play with in between there. And she said, I'm going to have another one. But also just achieved so many things. As you said, you've been, mentioned by Forbes, Huffington Post has give you some recognition. And you've done many other things in terms of marketing and PR in Trinidad and Tobago. Can you speak
Yeah.
to those young ones? So we're speaking about stepping out of your own way, right?
Yes.
And those self limitations that we set. How can you also just direct your attention to those young ones that are coming out of school right now, and about a journey, God willing, health and strength, onto their life and their career, in
Mhm.
terms of pursuing that passion?
I think a lot of us say it to young people, but it doesn't really resonate. But I'm still going to say it again. You can do whatever you want to do.
Mm,
And that is a fact. Don't let anyone say you can't do this, you can't be this. But in doing what you want to do, get the correct guidance, connect with the right people, do the right things, and things will happen for you. There will be times that you will be scared or unsure,
yeah.
or I don't even know, whatever feeling that some negative emotion,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
some limiting lie that someone has told you that's stuck in your mind how many years ago. That's what it is. It's a lie.
Mm,
You can do whatever it is you put your mind to. You just need the right mentorship and the right tools to get there. And even if your little friends say, "Oh, you can't do that," they're just seeing something in you that they can't see in themselves.
good
That is
point.
a fact. You're not going to understand it then, but when you reach our age, you'll understand it very clearly, right? Forget them. You do what you need to do.
I think also in the process, and tell me if I'm right here, you also need to keep focused on your lane. keep dead
Yes.
focus on what you're heading towards, where
Yes.
you're going.
Yeah.
You will have all these detractions of hearsay, and society says you can't do that, as you said, but you just got to keep focused, dead on, look straight into it, and keep
Hmm.
at it. And I can,
Keep at it.
and I'm just speaking from mistakes that I have made, which
Hmm.
I will look to the side and listen, or look to the other side and see what they're saying. But that is a detraction, even it takes away from your time, you know. What do you think? And I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this when we speak about another thing that young persons need to learn, and many of us, it doesn't matter, dealing with failure, where that comes
Yeah.
as part of life, and that will come,
Yeah.
and maybe that when you've failed once, that's when you step back into your own limits of blocking yourself. And I have
Yeah.
a friend that always says there's one thing you can get from failure, which is the lesson. I mean, the hurt, but you also have to learn from it.
Learn the lesson. Yeah.
Learn from that failure.
Yeah, failure is a difficult thing to deal with. I remember first time I failed when I first started out, and I did this huge proposal, and it was like a media strategy, and I put a lot of work into it, and they didn't accept it, and I don't even know why, right? And up to this day, this was so many years ago, and up to this day, I don't know why, and it really took a toll on me, and in a weird way, it validated my already warped thoughts of not being good enough. It's like, oh well, if I put all this work and it's not good enough to them,
Well,
then I'm,
then
I'm really not good enough,
it's
right?
good.
But it's like
Yeah.
the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's really I'm
Yes.
really not good enough. That it's sometimes you're just not somebody's flavor of the day.
That is hard to
Sometimes
accept,
you're
huh?
not. Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes somebody likes vanilla and you're chocolate, and that's okay.
And I
You
am
know,
chocolate.
right? It's okay. It's okay if they don't like. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It's just you're just not what they're looking for, and that's okay. And you have to be okay with that. And I learned this lesson years ago, and I still practice it today. At least when the person says no, you have the answer. You know it's a no. So you can move on to the next thing, and you're not sitting there wondering if they're interested, if they're going to hire me, if it is that you're looking for a job, if it is that this client is going to take my business. No is no, and you can just move on to the next thing, and you don't have to waste your energy on it. And
Someone
as you
says no
mentioned
means
before,
next opportunity.
yeah, no means next, right? And it's like you said, learn the lesson. What did I do wrong? Or if it is that I didn't do anything wrong, is this the type of person that I need to be looking for in the future? Maybe I need to be looking at it. Maybe I need to redefine my audience. Maybe I need to redefine my client list, right?
Almost
Let's look at it.
strategy.
Let's figure it out.
Hmm.
Let's look at a different strategy.
One of the things I think I learned too is that, and tell me what you think about, is sometimes you have to cut your losses. You may lose, you may lose some cash as an investment. You may have done something with services rendered to someone and may not have received any payment for it. Cut your losses and accept that as a lesson. Yes,
Yeah,
and
an
press on from there.
expensive
So
lesson and move on.
it's an expensive lesson, but let's not try to repeat that class.
Yeah,
Yes, and
yeah,
that's the thing.
agree.
Try not to repeat the class. Take the lesson and just go with that.
Hmm.
And that's just another one of the ways. In as we look at how to get out of your own way. Yes, you will hurt. You'll get a little pain here, you'll get a little scratch, but that doesn't mean you stop there. You still have to press on. Like Steve
Yeah,
Harvey says, jump, jump.
jump. Yes, jump.
You will bruise your knees. You will damage your elbow, maybe. You might dislocate a shoulder, but at least put it back in and
And
continue on.
keep going. Yeah,
Yeah?
definitely. Yeah, I agree with that totally. And I think it's just something that we just need to keep repeating to ourselves every day, because every day it's a new stress, it's a new lesson, it's a new obstacle, it's a new something that you're gonna have
Testing
to
your
deal
strength.
with, right? So you just have to keep repeating yourself. What do I want at the end of the day? If I want this, then I need to go for this. And it doesn't matter what anybody says, it doesn't matter what happens to me today. Take a deep breath and let me continue going.
All right. As a PR specialist, what's three things you think we should do for those of us that have stepped out into our own way, and you say, so we've done what you've mentioned. What are some other little tips or tricks? Because I think you remember you and I were speaking about that with certain nerves that I would have had to to stand before a crowd or whatever it is? What sort of tricks? I'm sure PR has some sort of tricks to master. You know, like you've heard, imagine the entire audience naked. I've
Oh,
tried
I've never done that.
that, but it never worked for me. I see
Oh,
everybody in their nice outfit. I'm still
yeah,
seeing them.
I've never tried that.
So, what are some of those tricks that you can help us as we go on our journey?
Um, I think first thing to do is find a media house that is, I should say a media, sorry, find a media that is aligned with your values and whose target audience are also aligned with yours.
Right.
So that way it's easier for you to convince yourself to reach out. If you think something is not what you're about, not what your business is about or whatever, or you feel that resistance, then don't do it. Go for the one that you feel aligned to. Like I was aligned to you, JD. I was aligned to you. So
Oh.
even though it took longer than it should, I knew that I had to reach out and it made it
Right.
easy. I convinced myself, oh gosh, no, Callie, you need to do this, right? Another thing is don't be afraid of forming relationships, right? Relationships are crucial in marketing, in business, and in PR because the relationship that you make today with a journalist or a reporter or whatever can carry you through so many because a lot of journalists they write for different, especially internationally, they write for different publications. And if you are suited for this publication and they write a feature on you, who's to say that they're not going to carry you to another
Of
publication that is
course.
well aligned or refer you to one of their journalist friends? It happens to me all the time and it can happen to you as well. So don't be afraid of putting yourself out there and forming relationships and nurturing those relationships, whether it's social media or wherever. And the last tip I would say, I think it just comes back to just not being afraid. It's kind of like silencing those doubts. Or as actually no, it's acknowledging. This is what I've been taught. You have these negative emotions and you have these negative thoughts, and they will come to your mind. Acknowledge them but then
Right.
turn them away. Say, okay, yes, I acknowledge that I feel fearful. I acknowledge that I feel scared. But guess
But do it
what?
anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. Because if I don't do it, I'll be upset and angry. So which one is better? Being fearful now or being upset and angry later on?
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
just do it. And I'm telling you, the fruits of you doing those things I tell you, you can't believe it. I can't believe where I am right now, to be honest. I
I'm
can't
so
believe
happy
it.
for you.
If you asked me this 2 years ago, if I would be informed and Huffington, like I would be like, no. If you asked me a month ago, do you think you'd be interviewed on TV6 Morning Edition? I'd be like, they don't want to hear from me. But guess what? I got an email in my inbox to tell me that they want to interview me on TV. I never thought that was gonna happen. It's crazy.
So another thing is that we need to stay in terms of the networking you spoke about. Stay consistent on our platforms. Would
Yes,
you say that? Because
yes,
I think that's with you. That's how I would see you so consistently on LinkedIn. You know, I'd be like, oh, Carly, communications. There she is, Carly. Yeah, so that's how I knew, even though I didn't know you. And that's the same thing, obviously, with those persons at the TV6 network calling you in. Obviously, they would have seen your action. So that's something that we have too. And I
yes,
love Gary V because that's one of the things he pushes
yes,
the
yes,
being consistent on your platforms, posting and being active, so people will
yeah.
know
And
one
not just
day they
being
will call you.
consistent, not just being consistent and being active, right? But giving value,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Giving value. There's a lot of things a lot of people need to understand. It's not just about, okay, I sell this and this is the cost of it. No. How can we use this? What is the value of this particular product or service in your life, right? What is the message again that you're trying to convey that you would like customers to understand if they purchase this product or service? That is the type of information that you should be posting on social media so that when people message you, they feel like they already know you.
So Father's Day is 21st.
Mm,
Yeah, I think so, right?
yeah, 21st, yeah. 21st
That's
of
two
June,
weeks
yeah.
from now.
Yeah, today is the
11th.
oh Jesus, yeah, well, yeah. 2 weeks from now. Well, a week and a half.
All right. So before we get ready to wrap it up, I know today is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to each and every one of the papas on the outside, whether it's papa, daddy, dad, whatever names apply to you. Thank you so much for being that role in the lives of your children, because there are many persons who don't stand to this role, whether even if it is mothers as well as fathers. But thank you, daddies. It's your day today for doing what you do. I know, as I said, it's Father's Day, and I know you would have certainly loved to give some sort of love and remembrance to your dad on this day. So using this
Yeah.
platform now, tell me about your dad and what sort of impact did he have on your strong career?
My father was, you see, I'm saying is right. He was so fantastic. He passed away in 2010, and he was a businessman. Yes, he had his full-time job as my mom did, but we actually have a family business, a restaurant in
Mhm.
Baratara. We've been here 25 years, 26 years,
Ooh,
and he actually encouraged that. That was his business. And he understood how business went. He understood how people were and how they would move with you when you had a business. And he was very instrumental and influential in my life when I decided to start my own business, because he would give me all the advice. We were very close. I'm the only girl. We were very close. And he would give me all the advice, and he would tell me all the things I need to do and all the things I would not shouldn't have to worry about. He used to say things like, don't worry about people, the right people will
yeah,
come to you. Keep working hard. Make sure you have your education to fall back on. All of those things he would do. And when he passed away, I was still in corporate when he passed away. When he passed away, it was like really sudden. And I don't want to cry or anything, but it was really hard. And I knew I needed to do something to carry on his legacy. I
of
just needed
course.
to do something. And when I formed my business, I I decided to name it Carly because Carly is what he called me. Like whenever he called, when we used to talk about music and all of these different things, and that was his pet name for me. So I said, Carly Communications is in homage to my dad.
Of course.
I know he's looking down, he's smiling, he's saying, "Oh my God, look at this girl! Look how big she! My girl's in Forbes, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I don't know what more to say. I miss him so much, but I know he lives within me and he
Of
lives within
course.
my business. And even my son, right? I had my son 2 years ago, and he's named after my father. My father was Garnet Malcolm, and my son is Malcolm Garnet, right? And my whole life, my whole business life is really in dedication to my father. And
Nice.
I miss him. I miss
Of
him.
course.
We've seen so much happening in just the last few weeks. So
Yeah.
hold them close, tell them you love them, encourage them, build them up, and let them be what they want to be, right? And
Yeah.
support them. Just support them, because right now that's what we need. We need support. Our community needs support.
Now more than ever, as you said, we need the love, the support, the togetherness, because we're only in June.
Oh
And
God,
it feels
yeah,
like a crazy year thus far, dealing with the pandemic and, of course, the uprising and the murder of Mr. George Floyd and many others, the
mm,
injustice, of course, to many African Americans. And what just consistently amazes me is the mushroom of support that has come from across the world
yeah,
as persons, highlight these very important conversations that need to be had. So it is a year to remember, and we're only in
it is.
June. We're only in June,
Oh God, yeah, we're
right?
only halfway there.
Halfway there, and I pray the rest of the year is not anywhere close to what we endured. I think I'm really praying that the year brings just solutions,
Yeah,
vaccines,
yeah,
health, you know. But I would say COVID is certainly teaching us a lesson about not only our hygiene, but the importance of family and that
yeah.
network, and how fickle life really is. Within
Hmm.
seconds, someone can be gone, with so many
Yeah.
lives that have been lost already. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on to JChats. I kid you not, I just have got a message from someone who was also on my one of my episodes, and she says, "Thank you so much, Jay." And I am really just happy that you guys are making time and including me inside of your world. Carly, I know you have contact information, whether it's platforms, contact numbers for persons who would like to speak to you or also have some sort of interaction with you pertaining to maybe PR, marketing, advertising, whatever communications you may offer. Can you share those details for us, please? And I
So
will paste to the bottom as well.
okay, sure, no problem. I am on social media. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram at
She is.
Carly Communications, Carli Communications. You can also reach me on my website, www.carlymedia.com. And my email address is caller@carlymedia.com. So you can reach me anywhere, anytime, and I will be sure to respond.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time as always. So I'm Jillian Gibbs, JD. You can also check out my website, www.jdmedia868.com. I am trying to be ever so efficient and consistent like Carly is on my LinkedIn page as well. And, I'm right here. So just drop a line to the bottom, comment below if you certainly want any more details. Maybe if you want to suggest a conversation that must be had on a platform like this, I certainly welcome that as well. Thank you for choosing JChats. And one more thing, subscribe. That's all. Just
Yes.
subscribe and share too. And like too. Yeah. All
Yes.
that. Thank you so much. Carly, all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is where I say thank you so much for allowing me in your world. I know you got your things to do, but you still tuned in, and I appreciate that. So don't forget, click subscribe, click the like, share, and just let all of us gather from the information that is being shared inside of JChats, even if it's the fun ones as well. Serious fun, whatever it is. Thank you so much. Be blessed. Stay safe. I'm JD.